I want commas, yes I do. I want commas, how about you? Well, don't worry, you did not accidentally click on a comma making guide, but we have to admit that the relationship between drop rates and commas definitely go hand in hand in this game. Whether you're trying to craft some equipment to save some commas or make equipment to put in the market, it's all related. So in this video, I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know, and probably some things you didn't need to know, on drops, drop rates, and how to maximize your dropping potential. Welcome to Benjamight Gaming, where it's my goal to bring you fun and fantastic Dofus PVM content. Okay, I feel like the best place to start is to talk about the relationship between a drop rate and prospecting. Every item or resource that can be dropped from an enemy has a drop rate. The base drop rate is what determines the rarity and in a lot of ways the comma value of every particular item that can be dropped. Prospecting is the player's ability to increase the drop rate of every item in the game. Every character in the game comes with a base prospecting of 100. As you can see here on my screen, base prospecting 100. I've stripped all my equipment and gear off. Every prospecting point you add to your character is increasing that base value by 1%. So if you have a base of 100 and you have 10 prospecting, you now have a 110% base prospecting. The reason that's important to note is because to determine your chances of dropping something is as simple as taking the base drop rate of whatever the item is and multiplying it by your prospecting value. So, for example, the chimeric feather from the small tofu has a 49% drop rate. We're going to say 50 just to keep the math easy, okay? So if you have a base drop rate of 100, you don't have any extra prospecting on your character, you're going to multiply 50% by your base value of 1. Well, 1 times 50 equals 50, so you still have a base drop rate of 50%. Now, if you have 50 prospecting points, you have increased from 100 to 150. You've increased by 50%. That would mean an item that has a 50% drop rate, what's half of 50 is 25. You add that, and now you have a 75% drop rate because you've increased by 50 prospecting points. And if you increase to 200 prospecting points, which means you basically doubled your prospecting, you've went from 100% to 200%, well, an item with a 50% drop rate that has been doubled would now be a 100% drop rate. I know it sounds like a lot of numbers. I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you, but the easy way to remember this is every 100 prospecting points increase your drop rate by 100%. That's kind of the easiest way to remember. So for example, the adventure amulet has a 2% drop rate. Well, if you increase your prospecting from 100 to 200, you've gone up by 100%, so you're going to add 2 more to that. Now it has a 4% drop rate. If you go up another 100%, means you add 2 more. Now it's got a 6% drop rate. 2 more, 8% drop rate. So if you were to come up here and fight this small tofu with 400 prospecting on your character, you now have an 8% chance of dropping it versus somebody who does not have any and they only have a 2% chance of dropping it. Okay, got the numbers out of the way. So ultimately what we care about is like, okay, how do I increase my prospecting? There's a bunch of ways you can increase your prospecting, and I'm going to cover hopefully all of them. If I miss anything, please leave a comment in the section below, but I'm going to try to cover every way I was able to come up with. The first and easiest way is probably just purchasing gear that has prospecting on it. So you can come down here, select what item you're looking for. If you go underneath secondary characteristics, you can select prospecting as an attribute that you want on your gear. Purchasing prospecting gear is probably the easiest way to add prospecting to your character. Another awesome way to add prospecting to your character is to fix the gear that you already have. Unfortunately, prospecting is typically an attribute that is neglected during the maging process. So if you've got gear that has a lower amount of prospecting on it than it could or should have, take it to a mage, bump that up, and then you haven't even spent money on new gear because you've just fixed the gear that you already got. Increasing the chance attribute of your character is another way you can also add some prospecting points. Every 10 chance increases your prospecting by 1 point. This is why chance-based characters tend to automatically have a higher prospecting base, because their main attribute is already adding prospecting to their character. And if you are not a chance-based character, perhaps you can consider scrolling your character. If you were to scroll your chance from 0 all the way up to 100, you increase your base prospecting by 10% through the scrolls. Another option to add some easy prospecting to your character is get your hands on a Calyptus Dofus. These you can get by running the Skiyunk dungeon, located right here at -2010. It's a level 120 dungeon. It is fairly tricky, so make sure you get you a squad that knows how to get through this dungeon. But if you run through that, you'll get yourself a Calyptus Dofus, which can run with a value of anywhere between 6 and 30. So you may not get a perfect one on your first run through, but you could run that as many times as you want and drop a Calyptus each time you do it. Another Dofus that you can get is something called the Grofus. I don't have it, so I'm going to just pop an image up of it on here. This is another one that you can get. Doesn't carry as much prospecting, and also you have to do some quests in Volcania in order to get this. So it's kind of a little bit more limited on a time frame of when you can get it. So if you want it, you're going to have to time it out just right. All right, some more options for you for trying to get prospecting on your character. A turquoise Drago Turkey is a fantastic and easy and fairly cheap way to get some good prospecting. If you get yourself a purebred turquoise Drago Turkey, you will come with 80 prospecting. Any of the hybrid amounts will get you 60, which is still a really good chunk of prospecting. Perhaps Drago Turkeys aren't your thing and you'd rather have a pets mount. Well, get yourself a Slayhound pets mount, which will rock you 120 prospecting. And last but certainly not least is a nice pet selection. Most come with the possibility of 120 prospecting, although there are a couple cheaper options here that carry much less, but these are also an option for you to get that prospecting. And my last suggestion for you for adding prospecting directly to your character is going to be going to the consumables market and looking up some of these treats. There are a whole slew of candies like this one here that will give you 30 prospecting for 30 fights. Now, I'm not going to show you every one of them in this list, but boom, here's a table of all the different prospecting candies and the benefits of how long they last and if they carry a little bit of extra attributes with them. Alright, but don't worry, you may not be able to add more prospecting to your character, but there are still some other ways you can affect your drop rate. Once you pass level 5, every fight that you start will come with a fight challenge. Accomplish that challenge, and as you can see, there is a loot XP bonus that'll come with every single one of those if you knock them out. Any fights that you do inside the arena or inside of a dungeon will carry 2 fight challenges, which could increase your chances even more. Another possibility are territory bonuses. If you bring your map up and you click on this show reward bonuses, the little chest right here, it's going to highlight all the different areas and the bonuses that they are carrying. The little table over here, you can sort this in different arrangements. So right now over here at the abandoned Laborowatsis, there is a 100% increase bonus just for that territory, no matter what you fight. One thing to be careful of are these territory bonuses can work against you too. If you scroll down to the bottom of the list, you'll find that there are certain areas that are suffering a penalty right now just because they've been over harvested at this time. So be mindful of that if you want to try to keep things from working against you when you're trying to drop those resources. Idols are a way to add to your chance of loot drops. However, it's not necessarily an easy way. Depending on the more challenging idols that you pick, the bigger the buff of the loot bonus, however, the more challenging the fight. So you can stack on up to 6 of these things and really increase that loot bonus, but just be mindful of what all you're stacking on there, because the last thing you want to do while you're out there trying to hunt for loot is getting yourself killed just because you made the fight too difficult. Another thing to keep an eye on is the daily almanacs. If you go to the Dofus website, click on the menu at the top and go down to almanacs, you can see exactly what bonuses are being applied for that day. Over here on the right hand side, you can also look at future days to try to find which days are going to carry a loot XP drop bonus. For example, this one right here on the 12th, bonus challenges completed in this area will carry a 200% increase. So those little fight challenges, if you go fight over here, everything's going to get a 200% bump in XP and loot drops. Could be a fantastic way to drop resources, assuming you want something in that area. Another option for you, these guild preceptors can be a fantastic way to get you some more loot as well. Now, technically, it's got its own base drop rate and it's collecting its own drop. So it's not necessarily boosting your prospecting or your drop rate. But if you're in a guild where you have permission to both post and collect, drop one of those in the area you're about to do some fighting, go do a bunch of fighting, and then go back and pick it up and collect those resources as well. In case you didn't know this, guild prospectors can carry a base prospecting of 100 and they can max out at 500. That's an extra 500% that you could have in your collecting abilities if you put one out on the map, depending on how your guild leveled their preceptors. Another thing you can look for are multiple of the creature that you want in the mob. Every creature in that mob is going to roll for that drop. So if there was a resource you were looking for from the Venomica in this group, there's 4 of them. That increases your chance of a drop by 4 just because there's that many in the group. Now again, you got to make sure you can handle the group size. And it's not technically increasing your drop rate, it's just increasing your chances. But that's an option for you as well. And going along with that is my last suggestion, and that is increasing your group size. Again, technically this doesn't increase the drop rate of what you're looking for, it just increases the chances. Every person in that group is going to get a chance to roll for that item. You just got to make sure that you're going out with people that are going to help you drop the resource you're looking for and be willing to pass it to you if they land the roll when you did not. All right, just a few closing thoughts. Remember, some resources are supposed to be rare and hard to get. That's what helps keep their values high. It can get frustrating sometimes if you're out there trying to get a particular resource and it's got a 0.5% chance of dropping. You just stack on everything you can and you could still do a load of fighting and not land what it is that you're trying for. But that's okay. Just keep trying. That's one of the fun aspects of the game, is the grind to try to get those rare resources. Something that might help is get yourself a prospecting setup. Have a particular set where all the prospecting is maxed out. Have a pet that you put on or a mount that you put on, and have a group of high prospecting candies, and you use all that together just when you're going to go hunting for resources. Remember, a character running around with 600 prospecting has literally 6 times the chance of dropping the resource without any fight challenges, without any bonuses, area, territory bonuses, or anything. They've got 6 times the chance just because of their base prospecting. Now, you can't run around with that level of prospecting at all times, but if you got a specific setup just for hunting, you could really increase your chances of getting whatever it is that you're hunting for. Well, that's it. If you could do me one super fast favor and just smack that like button, it really helps the channel out. Also, if you're new here and you want to make sure you don't miss out on any of my future guides and content that I make and some of the just fun PVM stuff that I have on my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you know exactly when those videos go live. You all be safe out there, and I'll see you on the next one.